Hello, everyone, and welcome to our segment, Women Business Owners Driving Impact. I'm Sharon Reynolds, CEO of multiple companies and an award-winning minority woman in business. Today, it is my honor to stand before you at the Women Business Collaborative's Action for Impact Summit. We've gathered here to recognize the incredible power and potential of women business owners, the driving force behind transformative opportunities, the undeniable impact these visionary entrepreneurs are making. This discussion will inspire, empower, and illuminate the path to a brighter future driven by women-led businesses. In this panel discussion, we will hear from dynamic women entrepreneur leaders who have shattered the ceilings, conquered challenges, and redefined industries. They're not just breaking glass ceilings, they are building bridges to opportunities for others. Their stories are embodied of the change we need to see in the business world, where diversity and collaboration thrive. As we explore the importance of women with women business owners, remember, we are not just discussing statistics or trends. We are celebrating the real world impact they have on economies, communities, and lives. The success of these businesses is not just a reflection of their capabilities, but also a testament to the limitless power and potential that lies in each one of us. So without further ado, I would love to introduce the panel. First, we have Melissa Adams, who is Global Supplier Diversity for UPS, who's going to bring her inspiration to us from a corporate perspective. She's a dynamic woman in her own right in her world at UPS. Lauren Herring is our CPO of Impact Designs. Kelly Kolar, President and CEO of Kolar Designs. And Theresa Harrison is founder and president of George Street Services. Welcome, ladies. This is going to be a fantastic discussion, and I'm so honored to have you all here. Let's just get into it and talk about supplier diversity. And I'll ask Melissa this question. So Melissa, why is supplier diversity important, and what roles does certification play?
Well, Sharon, first of all, thank you so much for having us on the panel today. It is such an honor to be here with these amazing women leaders who are all forces in their own right. When it comes to supplier diversity, my mantra is supplier diversity is not about doing what's good, what feels right, what we should be doing. It is truly a business imperative. It is how we innovate. It's how we cultivate our communities. It's how we find the next best, latest, greatest trend. So if we want to truly remain competitive, supplier diversity is one of the key components of how we get there. Now, when we look at certification, everybody wonders, why do I have to be certified? Can't I just be great in my own right? Yes, you can. That is true. I'm not going to tell you that you can't. But certification not only allows you the opportunity to meet with other corporate members, but it also certifies for us to say, you've been vetted. We know that you do great work. We can come to you as an organization already knowing that the due diligence is there in terms of the finances and your organizational structure. It allows us to have the confidence that you know what you're doing, and when you say that you can complete a task, we know that it will get done. So supplier diversity for me, and I would probably be able to speak for most of the other corporate members that are a part of all of the various partner agencies, that it is so critical to business imperatives as a whole.
Thank you, Melissa. That's fantastic. Kelly, can you kind of continue along those lines and explain just a little bit of how this has impacted you in your business?
Thanks so much, Sharon. Yes, what I think my favorite thing that Melissa shared is this idea of innovation. And as a creative company, we have always been breaking barriers and breaking and building new ways of designing, forging new ways, that intersection of architecture, interiors, and brand. And I'll never forget when I first started working with Procter & Gamble globally, and they kind of discovered us in the hills of Cincinnati, Ohio. They did exactly what Melissa said. They said, we look for small, diverse businesses that are on the creative edge, on the horizon. And we seek to find those people because we know that as entrepreneurs, they've created a new way, a third way, a fourth way, a fifth way to break new innovation in the way that they've come to business. So they love the idea of finding emerging talent, new breaking barriers businesses like ours, like yours, like many of the women on here, bringing those inside so that kind of like a rising tide, everyone can learn from each other. Of course, there's enough work for everyone to go around the world with a company that size, right? With the global impact company. And so that's the way that they really embody and incorporate innovation and diverse suppliers like our company. And they were really the ones that encouraged me 10 years ago, even though I've been in business 3 decades. Well, actually, no, yeah, 15 years ago, they encouraged me to become, certified registered business, because they said it's really important that we lead the way and demonstrate for other leaders and other diverse businesses to see the path forward.
Oh, thank you so much, Kelly. That's so powerful. Well, let me ask Theresa this question on impact. Can you share your journey, Theresa, on how you started your business and what impact you aimed to create?
Sure. Sharon, thanks so much for including me in this panel. I'm humbled to be among the other ladies here. My journey started because I've worked for wonderful companies, but I got to a point where in order to do it a new way through different lenses with a different mindset, and I was anticipating great results, I had to leave the company because there was nowhere to go where I could have that level of flexibility. So I left a wonderful job working at a wonderful company to start my own company. The journey has not been easy. And I to this day, over 25 years later, I do the cha-cha. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And that's because 1, I'm a small business. 2, I'm a minority-owned business. 3, sometimes we are just not given the same opportunity because of size, because of who you represent, but it doesn't deter me. So I started George Street Services Incorporated. There is no one in the company named George. A lot of times people think I'm walking in with Mr. George. He doesn't work for me, but it's named after the street I grew up on in Baltimore. And that was such an impactful neighborhood that prepared me for a time like this. Supplier diversity works sometimes, coming from a small business viewpoint, and sometimes it doesn't. And if I can elaborate a little, I'm in so many portals, I have so many certifications, and I hear nothing from many companies, which causes me to wonder, what is the level of commitment to supplier diversity? Is it to say I have 10,000 companies in our portal? Or is it to say we have positively worked with 10,000 small businesses? There is a huge difference there. So we provide technical services, and I am convinced that for those companies that are truly committed and need the type of services that we provide, they do reach out. But it's a level of commitment from the leadership, from the board on down to the employees. I'm not a supplier diversity expert like Melissa. I'm on the other side of the fence, sharing what I see, what I experience, and what I know from my vantage point.
Thank you so much, Theresa, for that. I really appreciate that answer. And yeah, we can see a lot of differences, a lot of change that's taking place now. So much more companies of purpose are really coming into play and recognizing that diversifying the supply chains
and that is so nice to see. Absolutely, Sharon. You know, I was thinking the other day, when I think of UPS, when I think of IBM, GM, AT&T, they were actually the leaders of supplier diversity. It didn't just start since COVID. So it is just good to see the awareness.
Sure, thank you.
Mhm.
Lauren, let me ask you, how do you define impact within the scope of your own business?
How do I design impact?
How do you define impact?
Oh,
within the
define,
scope
thank
of your own
you.
business?
Well, Impact Group, as you might expect, is a impact-driven business. We're a mission-driven business. We, at our core, are a coaching company, and we empower people to find and grow great careers. So we're a career coaching company and a leadership development coaching company. And what's exciting about what we do is that we are in a position every day to change the trajectory of people's lives by the work that we do. We help people find jobs, we help people grow in their jobs, we help people be better leaders, which then help them create better teams, and ultimately those individuals have a better life because they have a better manager. What I love about the work that we do is that we know, based on Gallup research, that a good job is the #1 driver of happiness in the world. And actually at Impact Group, because we are focused on helping people find and grow great careers, through our work, we help people go home and be better parents, be better spouses, be better community members. And so I feel like we make our impact and a difference every day through the work that we do, and through partnering with companies who are looking for more than a check the box kind of solution in some of these offerings. And again, kind of marrying some of the things that Melissa was saying with Kelly and Theresa. It's not about supplier diversity and the work that we're doing in companies. This is a business imperative. So when you're partnering with a company that is driven to make an impact on your business, and at the end of the day, this is about how we can help drive an impact in our partners' businesses. And so we've been fortunate to work with great companies, over 300 Fortune 500 companies where we've been able to do this work.
Oh, that is fantastic. And Melissa, as it relates to working with women-owned business enterprises and impact, is that something UPS looks for? Are they looking for companies that sort of align with their own initiatives and goals?
So I will have to say a resounding yes. Resounding yes. Some of you may be aware that this is UPS's first time in our 116-year history where we are being led by a woman, which not only is a monumental feat, and Carol Tomei, being the amazing leader that she is, has come in and helped redefine the company that we are and the organization that we'll be in the future. But she's also challenged us to think outside of the box and figure out ways in which we will engage with people differently. Part of the conversation is always around partnership and making sure that we understand what partnership looks like. And we know, in our roles as women, we are great and amazing partners. We love problem solving and figuring things out. So one of the ways in which I continue to advocate for women-owned businesses is by virtually just bringing them to the table, making sure that if we are going to be committed to this, that commitment looks like time. If there is the one commodity that we cannot replicate, no matter how great we are, it is that of the amount of hours that we have to commit to problem solving in a day. And one of the things that I pride myself in is bringing the most senior people to the table, making sure that there are decision makers in the room that can give you direct feedback, ensuring that you're not going to be meeting with the supervisor of an organization or a business function that can't make a decision when you're a CEO where your time is very limited. So we want to make sure that at UPS, we identify the areas of opportunity. The one thing I'll share with business owners is come to us with a problem that you know that we have that we can solve. You all are our customers. You know what we do right, and you also know where we have opportunities for improvement. So if you see through our earnings announcements, our 10K statements, news, media, anything that comes about, and you know that you can help us solve a problem, coming to us and saying, you know, I heard on your last earnings statement that you all are going to be focused on your real estate next year. I have a way to help you solve that. That is an amazing entry statement to an email. I promise you, you will get a response. One of the other things I would highly recommend for women business owners is to find people that like to do business with you. If you see that there's an organization that is focused on growth in women, their women leadership, they tout how many women leaders they have on their board. Those are other organizations that you want to partner with. I talked about partnership earlier. And they're going to be the types of businesses that you want to work with. So at UPS, we pride ourselves in, of course, making sure that we bring opportunities to the table for all vendors. But we do have a unique focus on partnership. And with that, I will wholeheartedly say some of the best partners in the world are women.
Melissa, listen, I'm so happy to hear you say that. It is true. And just, you know, from the standpoint that, you know, you can come in and solve a problem for a company and you have a solution, that is such a great lead in for a long-term relationship. So thank you for that comment. I think it's just well received. So Kelly, what challenges have you faced in your endeavors to drive impact, particularly as a woman-owned business?
Yeah, thanks so much, Sharon. You know, obviously, you know, kind of growing up on the floors of my father's manufacturing plant in Detroit, you know, I learned a lot about making, and coming from Detroit, it's a place of makers. So being a daughter of an entrepreneur of a minority business, my father's partner was an African-American Air Force colonel, retired, that then built this entire manufacturing ecosystem there in Detroit. And growing up there, you know, you get this mindset about what can you do as the power of one to become the power to 100. And that's really where I was raised. That's what I came from. So from workforce development initiatives to creating, you know, groundbreaking, innovative best practices. Our company today, in the 33 years, while I'm trained myself technically as a designer, our focus is to now disrupt the US real estate workplace market as a leading consultant and design firm by creating new value through our data-driven methodology to optimize space, cost, and the human experience for greater impact. So how can I reduce cost and actually increase employee engagement? You know, obviously it looks like I'm going to need the help of you know, Lauren on the call here to make sure that we are successful in our change management strategies. But, you know, it's really all about as you build your business, you know, brick by brick, mountaintop by mountaintop, you see new vistas, new ways that your same vision that you started with originally, you know, for my case, 3 decades ago, Theresa, obviously 2 decades ago, you see new ways that you can still continue to innovate because it's the spirit and the power of what you know how to drive change and create impact. And so I think for us, it's always been about that. And I just continue to find new ways to change global health, to change real estate value proposition and human connectivity. You know, as a humanist approach company, you know, we know that at the center of everything is our people. And so, you know, what's the intersection of people, process, and place? And that's what we've found, that we've been able to really find the magic and be able to create and build better.
Thank you, Kelly. That's dynamic. Theresa, what would you add to that?
You know, as Kelly was speaking and Melissa, I was stuck on the fact that women are strategic thinkers. We are extremely logistical. We can seize a situation and provide a creative, innovative solution. That's the DNA of who we are. And in leadership, that is implied and implicit with us. So as I think about what women bring to the table, it is unique, it is powerful, it delivers, it's excellent. I look at myself, I am one of 11 children. And I am the middle child, the first girl. So I have not 1, 2, 3, 4, but 5 older brothers and 2 younger brothers and 3 sisters. And I think about the fact that at our dinner table of 13 people, with 7 brothers and my dad, so 8 men, who are always starting, leading, trying to guide the conversation and decisions. So I say to everyone all the time, everything I needed to know, I learned as a child at that dinner table. And women carry with us in leadership those things that we learned growing up, and they work.
Yep.
So we have a blueprint that we change when needed. COVID caused all of us to create a new blueprint, and that's exactly what we did. And so I think about supplier diversity a little different than it was originally, I think, put in place. I also think now's a time in which we need to make some tweaks and changes to it. And that's why it's good to see new leadership there in the various companies, new focus that's very receptive of new ideas. And Melissa, it was so good to hear you say, if you see a problem, reach out. Melissa's going to be tired of me.
Those are things. Bring it, help us solve problems.
You
Look,
know,
hey, I've had experience with Melissa. She has stamina, and
Awesome.
she's going to absolutely invite you to the table. So we're
Awesome.
honored to have her here.
That's awesome. Supplier diversity is an opportunity for everyone.
Thank you so much, Theresa. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Lauren, let's ask you about, are there any disruptive business models that you've encountered or implemented that are led by women entrepreneurs? Let's hear that.
Well, I'm just excited to start using some of the technology that's out there internally at Impact Group. There's so much going on these days. I mean, there has been always, but it just feels like, especially now with generative AI, the pace of change is even more and more so. And so whether it's finding or leveraging startups, with some of that technology, or how do women-owned businesses figure out how to leverage that technology internally? That's the conversation that we're having right now. How do we disrupt ourselves? We are in the process right now of figuring out how to be implementing generative AI to be your coach at your side all the time, using the content and the models that we have developed at Impact Group. But, as we all know, there's the time and the place for the top level service. And then there's the time and the place for the cheap, fast, and easy. And, it's knowing when you need to bring what solution to the table for what type of problem, what level of team member or employee, and then being able to serve it up in the right way and find the right type of partnerships. So it's an exciting time for us where we're taking this new technology right now in the large language models and the generative AI and applying it to disrupt our business, not necessarily to make the old part of our business go away. Not that we can ever replace humanity in business, but what are the right ways that we can bring those fast, easy pieces of support to provide just-in-time resources for people?
Oh, thanks, Lauren. Kelly, you have a very innovative company in terms of design and evolution, in terms of what you're doing for your customers. What would you comment on that?
So I'm gonna piggyback on the digital transformation conversation. I know for sure, like I was running some focus groups with some African American women groups for one of our corporate partners, and they were talking to me about how difficult it is to present their best selves when we're talking into a flat screen on a computer with like a really poor camera. I mean, you can just look at the lighting across this view here, and they feel that the technology, which is designed by kind of a medium's, color face, is really slighted against them feeling their best and doing their best delivery in a technology world. So what I'm seeing in the digital and physical area is a complete transformation of new tools, new technology. I mean, we saw an explosion of just data transfer that went around the world when the pandemic happened. Now we all hit the reset button. Now it's time for some real product innovation to create better tools, better technology for all of us to be able to really be present and feel that we're more connected as much as we can through technology. Second thing I'm seeing besides that explosion of tools is, the word office is off. Like there is no such thing as an office. That's why I call it workplace, because it's spaces and places. We can live, work, and play anywhere.
Yeah.
So how do we create digital and physical experiences that complement the well-being and focus of the future of our best people? And so we actually hired a technology person, 100%. I have a small company, 35 people, 100% focused on AI and digital transformation so that our company can harness, like in the crawl, walk, run concept that Lauren was talking about, what are the fast, quick, and easy things that we can do to even save 15 minutes in one of my leaders' days. So they can spend 15 more minutes at their dinner table with their kids, or 15 more minutes picking their child up from school. I mean, these are the kinds of imperatives that all businesses need to do around innovation internally, and then also be able to be activating and bringing those new ways of working to our customers.
Sure. Melissa, can you share anything UPS is doing right now that might positively impact women entrepreneurs in terms of technology that's coming down the pike? Is something new and different that you all are doing?
So I will love to share. We have this program called Ignite. It is for small and medium-sized businesses that allow business owners to tap into what is needed for them. It is a digital-based training program. We have 5 components, everything from engagement with the lonely entrepreneur that provides mentors for entrepreneurs, because we know that it is sometimes a lonely space. I'm sure your families and your friends sometimes just don't understand, and there's nothing like being able to talk to another entrepreneur that's been there and done that, to an opportunity to engage in executive education with Kellogg. There are various workshops and seminars that are provided where we are engaging our subject matter experts to provide you all with just the latest trends that we see in various assets. So if it's anything from social media to understanding digital fluency, I'm so glad to hear you all are talking about that. One of the classes that we just talked about last week was, will AI disrupt your business? What will your business of tomorrow look like? And how do you make sure that you survive through the undercurrent of AI? Because it's coming, and we all need to make sure that we are assessing our business to see where we may have some holes and how to fill them. And then also identify those gaps that AI and ML can do to help us be better organizations. In addition to that, we offer export classes for those of you all that are interested in moving to sharing your businesses outside of the United States. A lot of people tend to think that you have to have an actual product to service outside of the United States, but you don't. That is such a false narrative. There are many service providers that operate outside of the United States. Marketing is marketing. Sales is sales. Workforce development is workforce development. There are so many service renderings that could be provided for our partners that are across the ponds that could benefit from some of the amazing organizations that we found here. And at UPS, we are prideful in that we want to make sure that we provide all businesses the best opportunities that they can, even if it is outside of the United States. So those are just a few of the amazing workshops and seminars and opportunities that we have. If anyone is interested in the Ignite program, please reach out to me. If you are interested in exporting, we work with shoe trades on that. There's a host of workshops and seminars that we can provide access to. Please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I'll make sure that we connect you. That's probably the easiest way to do it. I think some of our contact information has been provided through the portal as well. But most companies do have some sort of training for small and diverse businesses. And the thing to do is sort of cull through them and find out which one is best for you. As I tell everybody, if it's not a global reach, that might not be the program for you if you're looking for growth. If you're just starting out, then maybe you can do some of the smaller ones. But if you're truly trying to transform your organization and take it to the next level, look for a global concept in terms of the digital technology and digital fluency that can help you truly advance and grow.
Now, you know what? You see why I asked Melissa to join this panel. That is just fantastic, fantastic information, Melissa. Thank you so much. Lauren, would you have any comments after that commentary from Melissa?
Well, she pretty much nailed it. I would say the one thing that I would urge small business owners and women business owners to consider is don't be afraid to disrupt yourself, because I think the concern is if you don't disrupt yourself, someone else is going to do it, and then you're going to be struggling with the effects of that. So from the perspective of continuing to stay really focused on what's next, we had a planning session yesterday at Impact Group where a consultant asked us, let's say your current service is not available 10 years from now. Let's say the people aspect of what you do is not there. What would we do? And it was a real head scratcher of a question, but one that made us think really outside the box and helped us think, okay, who do we want to be 10 years from now? And it was an exciting question that maybe some of you out there listening might want to ask yourselves too.
And Sharon, if you don't mind, I'd love to build on Lauren's comment. One of the things that I have been thinking about and talking to my friends about is that the kids of today are the generation of tomorrow. So when you think about things like clocks and cursive writing, those are sort of the fundamental funny things that we talk about, but that generation operates totally differently, and they will be the leaders that 10 years from now they will be out of college. They will be decision makers, and they will be the ones sort of driving what the next industries look like. In 10 years in terms of businesses really doesn't feel that long. When you're thinking about your strategic plans, most of us aren't planning 20, 30 years out. We're like in that 3 to 5 year increment. And to that consultant's point, some companies may be obsolete in 10 years. So when you are meeting with your younger friends, because we're going to call them friends, when you're meeting with younger people, ask them about what you do. Sort of explain to them in their terminology what you do and if they could use your business. I was talking to a watchmaker, a friend of mine that's a watchmaker, and I'm like, "Are you concerned at all?" And he was like, "Well, what do you mean? Why would you say that?" I said, "The children don't know how to tell time on a clock. They are used to just utilizing their phones. Their watches are all digital. They don't know how to tell time on a clock." And he was like, "No one has ever mentioned that to me." And I'm just like, this is not even 10 years away. So those are the types of things when you sit back and you look at your industry and you have to say, what does tomorrow look like? And tomorrow's not that far. And the generation that's coming in now, they are so different than we are. And just trying to figure out what are those ways in which you can, to your point, Lauren, still remain relevant, still be at the forefront and innovate for tomorrow.
Excellent points, Melissa. Thank you. Okay, ladies, we're going to talk about money. So here we go. Okay, Kelly, I'll start with you. So how are women entrepreneurs revolutionizing the way capital is accessed and allocated in their industries? Access to capital has been increasingly difficult for women. We all know what the statistics are, and especially for women of color. So how would you comment on that question?
Yeah, so, obviously in the 3 decades, I've seen an enormous amount of growth for access to capital, especially through the Small Business Administration. I myself bought my first building through the 504 program. I also had a line of credit with the SBA. I mean, there is so many, especially for the smaller entrepreneurs that may be listening, there are so many opportunities, not only within, your city and your county and your state, but also, on a federal level. Second thing is this executive education that Melissa is talking about, like this education with with Kellogg. If you're a WeBank member, or you're a Bow member, there's a lot of opportunities for you to be able to get scholarships to go to get an executive MBA education or participate in the 10,000 Small Business organization program. So you can learn about finance and how you need to be able to fund your business moving forward. So a lot of access to education that you can get scholarships for. You don't have to pay for this yourself, but you can really, really find your way to also learn about the finance field, because a lot of us, like myself, I'm an accidental CEO, right? I started out on the creative side. So I think there's opportunities there. Second thing about access is, even with Exim Bank, Melissa was talking about global activation. I just was meeting with Nada from Exim Bank. I mean, the programs they have available to help you export your business is amazing. There is capital, there are grants, there are training programs. They can even help you set up with trusted, vetted partners. Like I have a Filipino partner and I export some of my services to Pan Asia. And it was like they helped me identify where the opportunities are for my exporting of my design services, right? That's a service business, not a product. So, different banks and different platforms are out there, not only offering you training and education, but also helping you access and figure out how to build strategic partnerships financially, whether it's banking partners or, joint ventures or other type of strategic alliances that you may want to have from a funding perspective. Last thing I wanted to mention is venture capital. So I actually am in a venture capital fund out of Michigan, out of Detroit, Michigan, called the Bell Fund. We finance women entrepreneurs. I'm an investor in that fund. So I really believe in putting my money where my mouth is as well. I also went into that fund so I can learn how, if I ever do want to do a stage 2 or some seed funding for my innovation in my company, I wanted to learn how to think like the people that might be giving me access to funding. So, educate yourself, get smart, learn about what it's like to be the jockey on the other side, because they're betting on the jockey. And so finding for venture capital funding, taking classes, participating in executive programming like Melissa, or reaching out to your government, to your SBA lenders. And even like in the state of Ohio, we have an amazing granting program right now. Our company already qualifies for close to $150,000 worth of grants because of our innovation and our technology platform that we're building. So you need to really look at all the opportunities within your area and take advantage of those, grow.
Thanks for sharing, Kelly. That's fantastic. So Lauren, what are some of the effective strategies you've employed to control capital in your business?
Well, I can't urge people enough to take advantage of some of the programs like what Melissa was talking about, or educate yourself. Before I became CEO of Impact Group, so Impact Group is actually a second-generation women-owned business. My mom founded Impact Group, and then I succeeded her. But I went in and I pursued an MBA prior to taking over as CEO. So just making sure that you have some facility with understanding what the requirements are for running an effective business, how to grow profitably. I think that's one of the early things that I struggled with as a CEO. I kept on wanting to grow. Growing profitably is more important, I've learned, than growth for the sake of growth. And so just understanding some of those key things around managing overhead and then also the key business indicators, the key financial indicators, so that and getting the right resources. So a lot of times small businesses don't necessarily have the internal support. So how do you get the external resources to walk beside you, to be the right kind of consultants to support you along the way?
Fantastic. Theresa, you want to play off of that one?
Sure. I have a little different perspective. What I see, what I experience with a lot of my colleagues is that women of color in business has extremely difficult road to getting capital. Yes, there are programs all over the place. A number of them say we can't find them. There are thousands of us. And we are not getting access as shared earlier. We are many bootstrapped organizations. They are successful, but they are funding the company. I'm a member of the BO Collective. BO stands for Black Owners Who Are Women. We are almost 150 companies at $750 million annually collectively, still have trouble getting capital. And so we've taken a different approach. One, we're starting our own fund so that we can help companies, women of color and women. Number two, we are ensuring that everyone is educated, but what we found is we're overeducated. We've been through every program you can think of. That's not what's needed. What's needed is a fairer playing field. And so we're developing partnerships. We have JP Morgan, who have invested in us time and finances. We have M&T, we have other financial organizations who see that we are successful companies. I'm not talking startups. I'm
Right.
talking established companies. So we have to be disruptive in order to get the financial organizations, the venture capital, you name the gamut, to see us as a win-win. So it's a different viewpoint here, but that's what my experience is.
Thank you, Theresa. I'm also a founding member of BO.
Yes, you are.
And what an incredible organization. When you say, let's start our own fund under the leadership of Nicole Kober, I think it's incredible. Let's go ahead. Women can do it. Women of color. We're so incredibly smart in that organization. So couldn't be more proud. So thank you for bringing that up.
And Sharon, don't forget about WBC's initiatives, right? Around access to capital and finance and the network
absolutely.
that's there.
Within the
for
Women Business
everyone.
Collaborative, absolutely. That's what we're
Exactly.
here
I mean,
for.
they're
Our
really
9 action
breaking down.
initiative. Absolutely, absolutely. So it's organizations like these that we have that are furthering women along as we lead this country. So thank you for that, Theresa. All right, so Lauren, I'll ask you, can you discuss any partnerships or collaborations that's helped you in driving opportunities in your organization? You mentioned earlier about UPS, but can you talk about anything else or collaborations that have helped you grow?
Yeah, well, and to leverage for the Women-Owned Business Network and the and WeBank, we have pursued supplier diversity as one avenue for growth. I would say, similar to Theresa, it's not always the end all be all, but it has provided some opportunities. So for example, for us, we're a partner with Walgreens now, and that came out of the supplier diversity direction, where, in this case, it was like, hey, can you give us a try? And then, you know what, before you know it, then now we're a strategic partner. So sometimes with these partnerships, starting small, going back to that analogy of crawl, walk, run. And so that's an example of how leveraging the WeBank connections and supplier diversity has been successful for us. And then we've also pursued some channel partnerships where, we partner with a larger firm to get our brand out there as well, which is how we're now partnering with Melissa and UPS. So it's an exciting process to just be a part of some of the existing collaborations and looking forward to how we can do more of that.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Lauren. So Melissa, stats show that 42% of diversity suppliers are African American. What opportunities and challenges do you think this presents for UPS?
So Sharon, thank you so much for that question. These are some very interesting times, and I'll go with that as a statement. There feels like an all-out war on some days raging, and how we will proceed forward, not only as an organization, but even as a country, when we look at what diversity means. And I think we as supplier diversity professionals, each of you as business owners, we need to sort of shift the narrative from it being about opportunity to a space where we realize that it is a benefit for all, that the economic empowerment that comes from working with small and diverse businesses is truly what built America. When we look at UPS, we are often trying to identify ways in which we can continue to represent the communities in which we serve. And one of the ways that we do that is through supplier diversity. So when looking at your statistic of the 42% of women, of African American companies being of 42% of supplier diverse companies being African Americans, one of the other stats that is brought to mind is that of that, most of those women-owned organizations are not able to sustain their businesses beyond 5 years. So what are ways in which we can help support and uplift those organizations? How can we work with and partner with organizations such as the Bow and WeBank and all of the WBC and all of the other organizations to ensure that we are identifying ways to offer that equal footing that Theresa talks about, and truly genuinely giving opportunities to organizations that can do the same work. Oftentimes we find that they are the ones actually doing the work through tier 2 and subcontracting. So how do we give you the opportunity? Sharon, you may remember I mentioned early on that one of my goals is to find ways in which we can do the partnerships that Lauren talks about, where the tier 2 supplier can become the prime on the contract and have the backing through MOUs or memorandums of understanding with a prime supplier, so that they can have some of the benefits and partnerships that are available to larger corporations. So at UPS, I think that we are engaging in things very differently. We are looking at this space of supplier diversity as economic opportunity. It continues to be a business imperative for us. We continue to invest in things that continue to help small and diverse businesses, because we realize that you're not only our suppliers, but you're our customers as well. So the better that you are, the better that we are, the better that the economy is. And some of the other programs that I know we continue to talk about, ways in which we can look at capital and look at funding and ways to help businesses grow. But the opportunity side of this is, most companies of our size are very risk averse. We just are. It just is. We don't want to be the first. We are very gun shy of going out on a limb for an organization that we don't know or may not have worked with a company of our size. And sometimes it's for both parties involved. It's not only for UPS, but it is for the smaller organization as well, because it's just very different in working with us. Understanding payment terms and making sure you have enough working capital. Some of those things don't come into mind when you are looking at the total cost that it is to do business with an organization like UPS. So the opportunities that I would probably bubble up are some of the things that Lauren mentioned. Are there ways in which we can partner with other companies where they can carry some of the working capital for you? Have you considered offering pilots to larger organizations? We're more apt to say, let's take a 2-month, $5,000 pilot before we would commit to the $100,000 6-month project. Let's test and see. Sometimes it may be an opportunity where you may want to say, if you're a technology firm, give us 5%, which is still a lot in terms of UPS, but give us 5% of whatever the service is that you're offering. And let us just show you what we do. Give us 3 months to turn a profit or show you a return on investment. And coming up with those unique ways in which you can consider doing business may be an area of opportunity that really aren't exposed to a lot of small and diverse businesses. They think that it's an all or nothing situation. And if you come to the table with opportunities like that, if you come to the table with, well, we would love to do this size business with you, but if you try it out, let's look at maybe a smaller pilot opportunity. And I think that you'll find not only companies like UPS, but those that are partners and other customers and other suppliers, they're more that meets the appetite better. That's where we can find synergy and find partnership. And the other thing I will say about partnership is just understand that patience is key. I know that it is hard. I know that it is hard. But patience is key. I tell people, when you're doing business with an organization like UPS, this is truly a courting relationship. So when we think about the dollars, that determines the size of our relationship.
So what you're saying, Melissa, we have to date. Well, listen,
We do. We have
you for
to,
that.
like look across
Right.
the room and see if we even like each other first.
That's exactly
That's
right.
like the $5,000 pilot.
Well,
And then,
ladies,
you
let me
go
just
from
say, this has been an extraordinary conversation. We're going to come to a close. We're here at time. It's
Oh,
been phenomenal, but I would love for each of you just to give me a one sentence on just the closing nugget that you'd like to leave with us today. Kelly.
Leap. Trust yourself. You leaped to start your business. It's time to leap again.
Thank you. Theresa.
Larger businesses, step outside the box, be willing to sponsor us, and we can do it small and then grow together.
Love that. Lauren.
I love it too. I'll say disrupt yourself.
Fantastic. Melissa.
partnership. I think I said it maybe 30 times today.
Yeah.
Partnership is key, not only with us, but with each other.
Great.
Well, ladies, I'll leave with that. I'm so honored to be here today. I'm also honored to serve on the board for the Women Business Collaborative and the chair, the Advisory Council. The WBC is one of the most profound organizations of our time for women. So it's an honor to be here with all of you. Keep thriving, keep striving, keep growing. And with that, we'll say thank you. Thank you for being here, audience. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Sharon. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.